And welcome back to part 6 of Vergil's playthrough of Devil May Cry 5, where today the missions are gonna start collapsing into one another in a bit of a domino effect. What I mean is, from this point onwards, each mission's gonna start feeling shorter and shorter. You noticed it a bit in the last video, where we got 4 missions done in one mission. I can almost guarantee you we'll be able to get 4 more done in this one. Also, as promised, I'll be taking the alternate route, because there are 2 very distinct routes in this mission. One that I took as Nero and one that I'm now going to take as Vergil. I've never been consistent at getting through this section, so I'm going to give it my well, there goes my best effort. If you can get through all of that, you get a free ticket to a gold orb, but that's about it. But the thing is, what makes it kind of more pointless is that said gold orb you can get to quite easily without going through the path. The only real benefit of going down this route as a whole is that these spikes across the place, or more so along the wall, you can knock enemies into it and it does great damage. As you can tell, the fact that 2 of the 3 nobodies we've fought so far have been wrecked by it. Actually, I think that one died by it too. And there is a trophy for getting through this whole mission without getting hit by a single spike. And the easiest way to do it is just to take the route I took with Nero, where, you know, you never once see them. But if you go over here, this red orb crystal is where you end up if you don't get hit by the spikes going around the shortcut route. And then in front of you is a jump up to where the gold orb will be. Right here, where the red orb is. But you can also hook over from over there as well if you do it right. I mean, if you don't get knocked about, you can hook over from there. But you have even more spikes to worry about, so it's just not worth it, really. You might as well just do the longer route, go fight some enemies, avoid far less spikes, and then just jump up. This encounter's a bit more on the interesting side of things, because it's a mandatory encounter that is also technically not, because you can just go the other route and never see it. But what's considered part of the arena, as you can see, like, what it's saying is somewhere we'll be able to go after this isn't really where we can actually go. What I mean is, if you look around the edge of the background, the like red shield that stops you from progressing is circling us completely like a dome. Yet we're not going to be able to go anywhere there it is, so it just seems kind of pointless. Like, it feels like it should only be where the door is. Am I going to get hit? Oh no, I didn't. Also, yeah, once I'm done with this playthrough, I'm probably not going to touch DMC5 SC again for a little while, just because of the damage it did to my right trigger. Like, I've still yet to replace the controller, so you might notice still on the odd occasion I double swap a weapon I don't need to, because there's no pressure in my R2. But once you do that, you're back in this first checkpoint zone that you hit no matter what. So now to go the other path yet again, unfortunately for me, that means we're going down the Fury path. So let's just do that. Is there another one? Oh yeah, there is. Alright, let's enjoy this showdown. You know, I wish the thing just didn't get a bunch of random invincibility frames. I feel like if you can see it, you should be able to hit it. It could just warp away if you need to do something like that. The fact that, like, now we can't attack it until it sorts itself out is just annoying. Oh, we got it. Yeah, goodbye, Mr. Fury. You have had your day. Our stylish points are still 7,000 for some reason. But yeah, it's weird to be at the very tail end of all things Devil May Cry on this channel, assuming I don't do a second playthrough of 4 later down the line. Which I do want to, it's just not yet. Because if I'm going to do that, I'm going to want to practice a bunch of DMC4, and I haven't practiced the main route DMC4 is in Dante and Nero in a very long time. If I ever go back to DMC4, I'm usually either fucking around in Bloody Palace or I'm doing Vergil runs. Or both. You know, doing Bloody Palace with Vergil. At that section there's actually several different holes. And if you go down the wrong one, you'll have many enemies to deal with. But if you just lean to the left, you can go straight and skip the entire thing. which for rank running is very helpful because it means it's less random one-off enemies to deal with. Ow. Ow! I got hit from fire the fire. That's a bit bullshit. And that enemy hit me from off screen. That I'm not too keen about. That's the only thing. There's a couple enemies in this game that I find are perfectly fine and enjoyable on anything that isn't LDK, but become kind of annoying in LDK. These guys are one of them, because sometimes you just get fireballed from off screen because there's 20 of them. Like, the super big fire ones I actually don't mind too much. Yeah, they can be a little annoying depending on the situation, but the fact that they're a lot more front and center, that you can make them a bigger priority, and you know what to expect from them more. You don't get any kind of weird wacky bullshit where they just kind of shoot you from off screen. I mean, the plus side, and I haven't really talked about it, so I probably should, because it is something new to Vergil in 5. If your concentration is high enough, there's kind of an auto guard Vergil has as long as you're not in the middle of an attack. But what will be auto guarded isn't stacked, it's dependent. What I mean is that if your concentration is at level 1, it will be ranged stuff. If it's at level 2, it'll be physical stuff. So with those fireballs, if you're just lingering in the air or lingering on the ground, and they shoot at them and you're at the right concentration level, he will automatically block them and take 0 damage, and even deflect them for you. Which I assume is there just more as a nod to the fact that Vergil will block attacks in his boss fight against him. So in their attempt to let's make sure all his boss skills are in there, they gave the Vergil the block. And there's a part of me, and I know a lot of people felt this way as well, that kind of wanted it to work a little like Royal Guard, just to have more nods to his twin brother. But I kind of like how it is, because it is just only if you are being Vergil and standing around and not being super hype active with your attacks will he then block or deflect an issue. But there is still a part of me that wonders what a Vergil with style swapping would be like. Because firstly, you'd make Darkslayer and Doppelganger the 2 styles and give him back his standard Devil Trigger instead of it just the Doppelganger being a replacement for his Devil Trigger. But then what else would you really give him that would feel Vergil? Because otherwise he's only going to have the 2. Like, I feel like you could get away with giving him a kind of like a Royal Guard, but at the same time there's a part of me that feels like you'd be leaning too much into Dante then if you straight up give him a Dante one. It's same as like if you make a Swordmaster like one, or like a second attack button based style. I feel like you'd be leaning too much into it. So other than giving him Quicksilver, I don't know. I feel like there's not too much you could do with it, which is probably why they just stick it on the Devil Trigger instead. As much as I would love to have seen the standard Devil Trigger, because there is a lot of concept art of Vergil in a standard Devil Trigger that exists for this game specifically, that never got used or realized in a full model, because you only ever see the Sin Devil Trigger form, and in his mode, the Doppelganger is based off the Sin Devil Trigger mode as well. I'll also show off this fight because I also didn't get to show off this one last time. Because I ran straight through it because it wasn't worth it, because it only would have hurt my style rank. But you can actually do it, and there's a crap ton of these guys here. So expect to get knocked about until you can break their spines. Which, to be fair, as Vergil, you're never going to have an easier time in your life dealing with these guys. I think they're called the Riots. Let's have some fun. Or is that the... I always get more. I think they might be the Chaos, actually. The ones with the spikes on their back. Whichever one there is. I think the Riots are the normal ones. The Chaos are those guys. With Vergil, because of the Summon Swords, you can just rip into their rocky spines regardless, and they can't do anything about it. Like, you can shoot at them with Nero and Dante, and V, you just keep on moving around and hope your minions deal with it. But Vergil, the Summon Swords have so much power behind them, they will just rip through it if you keep on shooting. But let's not deal with this Judica, so enjoy a Hell on Earth. Oh wow, I'm surprised it didn't do the invincibility frame auto recover that it usually does, that Judica. Oh god, there's a lot more Judicas here than I thought there would be. Oh god, there's even more. Ow. Probably shouldn't have used Doppelganger. I probably should have stayed in Sin and tried to get more stuff off. Oh well. Oh god damn it, I was trying to do... There we go. I was trying to do Drive first of all, and it just didn't go through, so you just did a swipe. I think I probably would have got away with that if I did. And I love that, same as in standard Devil Trigger in 4, if you like rapid slash through an enemy when you're in Sin Devil Trigger, you'll leave a spike. So if you sheath the Yamato at any point, you can explode every enemy. It's like, I remember like way back when 4 Special Edition first came out, everyone who was trying to tell us that Vergil was way too overpowered would only just Devil Trigger rapid slash everything. And yes, it is a very powerful skill, but that wasn't even scratching the surface of what we later learned Vergil could really do. Like, Vergil is such an unstoppable force in 4, and that was before he got buffed even further in 5, to make him from you literally are playing as a boss character to you are literally playing a final boss character. Like, when people was just like, oh no, rapid slash Devil Trigger just wipes everything, it's like, oh no, you have no idea what he's really capable of. Well, in retrospect, whilst nowadays, yeah, it's just the sky's the limit, you know? It's Vergil, this is easily the best Vergil's ever been. And I'm so glad I get to say that, because when Vergil was first announced through Special Edition, they only showed him using Yamato, and only showed Doppelganger, and a bit of Sin Devil Trigger, so everyone was like, he's not going to have Beowulf and Force Edge, is he? They're going to get rid of it because of quote-unquote realism, he shouldn't have it. Which, as I've stated on record many times, realism is never an excuse. If anything, it's only ever going to be a hurt, so you might as well not bother. You might as well go for fun over realism. It's like when people say in a fighting game that a dead character can't be playable again. It's like, no, if they want that character playable again, that character will absolutely come back. That means nothing. And it's better that way, because it wouldn't be fun if you have to obey the rules of realism you made up. You might as well just go wild with it and have a blast. You lived that? Oh. There we go. I was expecting Malthus to die from that, but yeah, did Malthus get to do anything after the intro? Like, at all? That boss still feels kind of pointless. I don't hate it, it just always feels like it's just kind of there. Once you know how to do it, it's like this thing wants to get beaten up by you. It really can't do much to stop you. Which is unlike Mission 16's boss fight, because this guy, Cerberus, is just fun to fight. The fact that his hitbox is actually pretty accurate to where he is, so you can do very tight jumps and evasions, just makes him really fun. It's amazing what a precise hitbox can do for letting you be stylish. Which some other bosses, like Needhog, don't really seem to have on point, and so you can just get hit by random bullshit because the game said so. It's something that I've always had like a mixed relationship with in FromSoft's games. Like, if you want me to take its challenge seriously, some of those hitboxes needed to be reworked. And it's something that carries over all the way to even their much later stuff. Like, I was playing Sekiro. You don't ever expect a Let's Play to be playing it, but even in that, there's been a couple points where I've been hit by something, and it's like visually, or even if I check it back on the auto record, it's like, I was not touched by that. But because the hitbox is bigger than the animation, you just have to deal with it. So any game that gets the hitbox actually precise and feeling the way it should be will always get an extra merit for me, and Cerberus is just a kingpin of that. It always feels spot on. As much as I absolutely love Bloodborne, it's one of my favourite games from the PS4, any shockwave based attack, it's a suggestion if you avoid it or not. Just dodge super early and pray to God. So that's a wild thing to think about for me, because Bloodborne was the very first, like, decently sized project I was going to do, and I remember being extremely nervous for it, because everything I had done before it was something that I knew I could get started and finished in a month. So the idea of doing a bigger project that was going to take time and planning, and have to do organization and whatnot, because I hadn't done it before, because the 3 Let's Plays, I think it was the 5th Let's Play I did, it wasn't the 4th. The Let's Plays I'd done before it, all of them I just clicked record, talked and started playing, and whatever happened, happened. Whilst Bloodborne was the first one, I actually had to do planning in advance to make sure my route was secure, to make sure everything I wanted to cover was covered, and everything else. I didn't just click record and play with zero practice. I made sure everything was going the way I planned it, and I knew exactly what I was doing. And I was genuinely nervous that it would feel too concentrated, too focused, and it wouldn't be fun. But nowadays, looking back with how many bigger projects I've done since then, which take so much planning, sometimes even months in advance to make sure they're in point, the only one that was kind of worked in my favour and didn't have much time planning was Death End 2, because I was literally off the back of my New Game Plus run, and the game that I had been planning for a while, you know, the game we're playing right now, suddenly was getting new content, so I had to rearrange and pull it back, because I wanted to make sure to show off this new content. Which I'm glad I did, because I don't think it would have been as fun if I couldn't do an LDK run as Vergil. So I would have just done a standard run or a D&D run as Vergil if not. So being able to actually show off what LDK is made of while I'm at it, just I think spiced it up enough to make this feel more worth it than just going through the game again as Vergil without any change. Well, I mean, to gameplay. Like, it would have just been on Son of Spider or DMD, which I think wouldn't have really been made it as justifiable. I would have ended up pushing back the Vergil run probably for a while longer, just because it wouldn't have felt unique enough. It would felt like we're just doing the same too much, which is kind of the same reason why I put off Dragonstar Varnir's Madness run for so long, because I knew the first half of the game would be very familiar to what we've already done, and it's just going to start creeping in all the Madness stuff as we go in. But speaking of, I need to get back to recording that at some point. I just keep on putting it off because I know what's coming. I know the infanticide is coming up soon, and I don't want to do it. And if you haven't watched the Dragonstar playthrough and you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. There's a bad ending that's a drastically different path in the game, and to get it, 3 kids have to die. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know, and I've been putting it off because I actually enjoy those 3 kids as characters, and the idea of killing them off, like, you know, sucks. And it was quite funny because I was talking to my mother dearest about it, because I was like telling her about like the project's been working on and like what I've been up to, my YouTube stuff as I go on. And when I was telling her, she's like, that just sounds horrible. Why would you want to do that? And I was like, well, that's kind of the point they're going for. They don't want you to feel good about going for this kind of path. They want you to feel bad. And it's like, yeah, but that's traumatic. And I was like, Mum, don't worry about it. Yeah. But then I appreciate, my mum like absolutely doesn't play video games, nor does she have any interest in them. But she's the sort of person that, like the odd time she's seen me play video games, she either doesn't get it, even if for me it's finding it obvious, or she gets motion sickness. So she just has zero part of it, but she knows it's the origin and heart of my passion, and so is all for supporting me just doing this and just kind of cracking on, which is always appreciated. It's always nice to have a member of the family, even if they don't get it, be appreciative and supportive. Because God knows, other members of my family aren't so. But that's not really worth a topic talking about. This is another encounter. Actually, no, it's the next one. It's the one after this. I was going to say, I think it's either this one or the one coming up, where we're going to have an absolute shit ton of Death Scissors again. And we're going to be able to lag out the game if we kill them all in one go. Similar to what we did in Mission 9. Well, we're not going to be able to because we've just lost our concentration. But there goes that encounter. Because there was just so many Judicas and I wasn't up for dealing with that. Oh, I'll at least be able to get my Sin Devil trigger ready. It's just I'm going to have to fuck around a little bit. With either jump cancelling, taunting, or... But yeah, but look how many of these guys there are. And all of them immediately went underground. Oh, and there's a Fury in here, by the way. Just in case you were worried. Actually, I might be able to pull this off. Assuming the Fury doesn't come and ruin my day. Oh, the Fury came in and ruined my day. Jesus Christ! Look how much slowdown. That's that slowdown from like this little slowdown you get for breaking a weapon. That wasn't lag. This is going to be lag. Oh! Hello, Mr. Fury. How are we today? Let's see if I can get this off. Oh, damn it. Oh, well. Oh, shit. I actually caught that. Come on in. Oh, slightly too late. That's gonna... Yep. That attack is such a pain in the dick to deal with if you're hit by the first one. Because even if you roll out of it, the range is so wide you might get caught anyway. Literally, it's like the only attack on the Fury that genuinely winds me up. Every time he does it, because you just get caught in the first one, it's very annoying to avoid the second one. You have to be pretty precise in your dodge, otherwise you just get caught. You can't just try and move out the way. You either jump or you get good timing. But that being said, all that's left is good old Cerberus, which won't take long. Which, to be fair, King Cerberus, like, when I first... And I still stand by this criticism, to be fair. When I first went through this game, the only thing I didn't like about King Cerberus was the health. I think this guy has way too much health. And the fact that ignoring Gilgamesh, he has the most health of any boss in the game, I think stands for something when I say the only boss that has more is the boss that's designed to be an entire events boss. Like a raid boss that you fight on your own kind of situation. So the fact that this guy has as much health as he does just feels outlandish and ridiculous for a mission that's already not too lengthy, but has a lot of encounters in it. So if you're going for a good rank, can easily get wrecked. Speaking of getting wrecked though, the Vergil's boss skills on this guy, like every other boss in the game, he doesn't stand a chance. But you can see the damage difference and the purpose of it, of comparing them. Like you see with Beowulf, it like ripped his head off. But when we were using the other ones, it doesn't do anywhere near as much damage because Judgment Cut End is more used for groups. And I always got the impression that Deep Stinger is more for defense breaking. Yeah, there we go. Oh, well, I like the flurry of particle effects in that. I hope YouTube compression doesn't ruin it. But that was good, like, timing on the attacks to get some really good particle effects. Which, to be fair, is something I will give the team for that. As much as particle effects as a whole are never something that I'm that fussed about, seeing them when they're done properly, like with Vergil in Max Concentration, are just a treat. Alright, mission 17, though. Good old Urizen. It's just Urizen. Like I said, there's nothing special about it. It's just a boss fight. Keep in mind this is LDK, so he's going to have reduced health. So let's see how much damage we can do before he does that initial burst. Oh, well, good 7th or 8th. Oh. Originally, I was going to try and concentrate on doing a no damage run for this fight, because I've done a no damage run on DMD as every character now, including V. Oh, well, there it goes. So I know I can, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, ow, fuck. The more I was like, well, for the whole Let's Play, I've just been going first run is the one I stick with. So any fuck-ups you see, any mistakes I see, so it's more believable and less me making sure I get the perfect run and being like, yes, guys, this is how I play, when it really isn't. I make a lot of little fuck-ups. I just have a lot of fun while I'm doing it, so I don't care. So eventually, despite that, I'm just going to roll with whatever it is, and like I said, I've already been hit, so it doesn't matter. I am going to try and get past phase 2 and back into phase 3 as quick as possible, because, you know, the slowdown immediately followed by doom spikes is never fun. I do like that you can be very cheeky about it, though, in the slow-mo, as you saw there. Like, the fact that the moment they were summoned, as any other character in that situation, even if you tried to jump cancel and get up... What the fuck, Vergil? Vergil? Where are we going? As any other character, we'd be in trouble at that point. Well, you know, in mid-attack, in mid-air, the spikes are focused on us and we're in slowdown. But as Vergil, trick down, we just got out of it. I love the fact that there's these extra little grains of cheekiness that you can get out of Vergil and Vergil alone. I love the fact that there are certain techniques towards enemies and bosses that are character specific, because it does so much more to make them feel feel different from one another compared to just, you know, their moveset and weapons. I'd always love seeing these minor intricacies that you can get away with that are only really functional for certain characters. Because it does much more for making me feel that they're more unique and stand out than any weapon or style difference will do. Because then it's like the fundamentals, it's the finer details, it's things like that that end up becoming far more impactful. But anyway, we got 11,000 stylish points even though we took damage from that fight. Because, you know, LDK is LDK. Which I think, to be fair, LDK does just multiply up to an extent with some of that stuff. It might, but at the same time, it might also just be Vergil, because I don't think we really lost the style rank once. No, we lost it once when we got hit down, but every other time we took damage, it was because we powered through it, we armored through it. But because Griffin, Shadow, and Nightmare don't actually have descriptions, I'm going to take the liberty of adding my own. Because they were never intended to be fought in like a non-boss scenario without a cutscene introducing them first. So the fact that you're now just fighting them as is and they need title cards, they just don't have subtitles. It'll just say Griffin, later on it'll just say Shadow, and then it'll just say Nightmare. So I'm going to add my own in post, so I hope they're funny. Or at least witty, if they're not funny. I know me has a sense of humour when I want to show it. I end up just talking shit most of the time when I'm playing instead of actually trying to make a good joke. It's usually in the post stuff, if I'm going to have a sense of humour, I tend to let it ride out a little bit more, assuming it's been a good recording. Because then I'm not concentrating on the game as much. Trying to be entertaining is not something I ever really commit to doing. Like, if people find me entertaining, I appreciate it. And you guys, I always make a point of saying that I appreciate you guys, because you guys know I do. I always adore the fact that anyone for even a second just thinks I'm worth watching. It's like, geez, thanks. There's a million better people to watch than me, but here you are, so I appreciate it. But I'm never actively trying to be an entertainer. I just love talking about stuff I enjoy playing and want to share that with people. And if anyone sticks around and finds me worth watching, then result. Cheers. But I still, every now and then, if I think there's apt point for it, will try and squeeze in something. Especially if it's a scripted. Like, my reviews, like when I used to do them, because I'm only ever going to do like a written review for something if it's a game I enjoy enough to want to do it. It's why I did one for the Neptunia series and why I did one for Dragonstar. The only reason I didn't do them for the Death End games is because I'm not confident enough in my understanding of the plot of the first game at the time to do one, and the second one I knew I was going to be Let's Playing it like as soon as it was done, so I didn't want to have to do even more playthroughs sort of thing. And I didn't do one for Mary Skelter when I first went through it, just because it took me a year to get through that game. And what I mean is, it's not that it took me a year because I was constantly playing it, is that I kept on putting it down for other stuff. And it was literally a whole year after I first brought it, I was like, oh shit, I never actually finished this. And so I went back and platinumed it. And so trying to write a review for that when I honestly couldn't tell you half of what happened anymore because it was so sporadic. Like the scientist dad of Red was very clearly evil right from the start, turned out to, you named it, be evil. And like, that's as far as I remember. Oh, and Gretel was a really fun character. Gretel is a fucking amazing character because she just sits there and goes, what the fuck do I care? Like, these people are suspicious. I have no sentimental value on anyone to pretend they're not. And there's something about that character archetype that I just always enjoy. The ones that just say, well, what the fuck do I care? This is just how it is. Because like, as much as like, you'll always be understanding, because if someone is kind of dodgy, but you have friendship or sentimental value to them for whatever reason, you have a tendency to overlook it. But the people who aren't like that, I always have kind of, assuming they're not a dick about it, obviously, because there are some people that are just an arsehole to everyone because they have no time for anyone. But the people that can see through the bullshit, even if they're like friends and family, and call them out for it, I'll always have more time and respect for. So Gretel just radiated with me a lot, because it's like her entire character is, I don't care if you're family, you're talking mad shit, and everything you're doing sounds villainous as shit, so I'm going to call you out on it and hide stuff from you until I know more about what's going on. Like, being able to put personal feelings aside to call out bullshit is something that I'll always hold respectful, because I know it's not the easiest thing to do. As someone who's been on both sides of that coin, I've both been someone who has been sentimental enough to kind of let something go, and someone who has been able to put it to a side to call out bullshit. I get it's not the easiest thing to do. I've got better at just calling people out and putting it to one side as I've got older, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing. That just means I can put my feelings to one side easier, which to an extent makes me kind of heartless. And I've learned to accept that is just how it is. But I don't even know where I'm really railing with this conversation. You get what I mean. Some people are like that, some people aren't. And it's not for everyone, and it's not the easiest thing to do. So if you're on either side of the fence of it, don't stress about whether it's the right thing to do or not. It's just how it is. Like, some people are that more methodical and statistically minded that they can put personal feelings aside, whilst some people are more emotionally driven, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with either. But but neither of them are necessarily the best as well. Like, both of them have problems, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. Both of them are just the way of the world and the way some people work. Obviously, there are extremes that are problematic. Like, if you've got a member of your family or something that is, like, straight up criminal and is, like, you know, kind of a monster in their whatever way, and you're defending them because they're family, then... Bleh. But in the same vein, if someone does, like, a very minor mistake that is a genuine mistake, and you go hard on them because you go hard on everyone for the same thing, that equally isn't necessarily the nicest way to be. So it's a tough balance, which is why I say there's no real true path of good side with it. Also, that enemy I think despawned because he got too far away. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he despawned. Oh well, he might teleport back to us, but I'm going to assume no. I mentioned it before, I think in the main playthrough, but if you can kill Shadow quick enough, you could stop Griffin from even entering the arena. Well, we weren't quick enough. Probably if he walked in with a Hell on Earth, he would have been quick enough. I wonder if it's actually slightly quicker out because of LDK, because of the reduced health that he brings it in quicker. But I guess I can instead showcase that if you kill Griffin first, only Griffin will leave, and then Shadow will have to be defeated separately. Whilst if you go for Shadow first, both of them will leave when Shadow is done, because Shadow is the main threat. Griffin's just extra. Oh, there we go. Just chinned it. It went. There we are. Now it's just one more showdown. I am surprised they kept those mini scenes in for all the other mini scenes that they didn't keep in Vergil's run. I'm surprised those ones did, including Griffin's dialogue of saying, "Oh, you're tougher than you look. We've got a bolt," or whatever he said. But anyway, now it's time for this fucking boss. Hello, Nightmare. I love that intro animation, to be fair. I just don't like the boss. Anyway, let's bring it on. Let's see if we can wreck this guy very easily. You know, the ultimate challenge of DMC1 DMD. The ultimate fuck you that was DMC1's DMD. Among everything else. You know, like Nilo Angelo having every single attack he owned be a one-hit kill. Like, Nightmare absolutely sucks. He was like the OG... stop. He was the OG stopping power of DMC1, especially going on DMD. It just sucked. Then when you finally overcame it and felt good about yourself, you immediately had the final boss, which was even worse. Mundus on DMD isn't fun. I don't think I've ever, to be honest, I don't think I've ever done it legitimately. I think I've always just stockpiled Holy Waters, Devil Stars, and you name it, and just spammed through them all until he dies. Because I just have zero interest, especially in that first phase. When it's like, it's the meta mini game you've never done before that now suddenly we're going to make you do. But then saying that, as you guys know, especially when I did that Let's Play, I always have a deep respect for DMC1 and what it did in the origin point of the series. And I always have a soft spot for it because it's what got me into the series. And what kept me invested in the series when DMC2 originally came out and, you know, I really didn't enjoy it. But this is the Bloody Palace taunt, by the way, and you can absolutely judgment cut off of it, which makes you feel like a god when you do it. It's the same with the dancing one. The dancing one being the EX provocation you buy. Also, we killed him with a taunt, which is badass. Fuck you, Nightmare. This is what you get. I killed you with 2 taunts, essentially. But the EX provocation, at the end of it, he also sheaths Yamato, and you can judgment cut off of it. I love the fact you can judgment cut off everything Vergil has, really. Anyway, next time on DMC5 Vergil Edition, we're going to wrap it up. So until then, take care.